Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. It is the 6th of November and it's quite late on Diwali Day. Shubh Diwali to the Hindu community and a happy Diwali to all of Trinidad and Tobago. I didn't get a chance to do this before. It was an extremely busy day. And the day is coming to a close, it's winding down. But like most videos, this one is predicated on a thought that I was having to myself, thinking about why would our country be the 12th most violent nation in the world? Why would it be the 12th least safe country on the planet? Unlike the Minister of National Security, I don't need proof. There's proof around us. I'm not going to play games with it. One murder is one murder too many. And him not understanding that is, I guess, the source of the greater problem. But anyway, I watched the people of Bayshore put up gates on a public road, and they've written the parliament, trying to get the parliament to give them ownership of that public road so they could close it. And it got me to thinking, what is the problem here? Because I live in Diego Martin West, and Diego Martin West is the wealthiest. Keith Rowley said it. Keith Rowley said this is the wealthiest constituency in Trinidad and Tobago, and it is. And St. Finbar's Church is probably the wealthiest church in all of Trinidad and Tobago. And a couple years ago, I noticed that they had put electric fences around the church, and I wondered, how far wrong do we have to go as a society for us to need to put electric fences on the church? And then, so I've been thinking about this issue of crime and security and how we end up here. Because I heard Gary Griffith, the new commissioner of police, I heard him, and Gary gave them some real gun talk. I mean, Gary gave them Clint Eastwood gun talk. And I heard him tell Hema Ramkisoon, if they don't afraid God, they go afraid Gary. And that's cool. As lyrics, and I like them kind of lyrics because I like them kind of, you can't handle the truth bullshit too. So it's cool to hear that we're making memes, bullets expensive, there'll be no warning shots. But I can't for the life of me understand how we reach to a point where the commissioner of police could be given that gun talk, and members of the Syrian community and the 1% and the wealthy and the high class could be saying, yeah boy, we finally have a new boroughs. And then we get 11 murders on the eve of Diwali. 11 murders. Some of them so reprehensible. We have a Coast Guard missing in action. People walking into this country anywhere with anything, nobody to stop and check. And I'm wondering and I'm thinking, what is the genesis? What is the heart of all of this? Why would Bayshore need gates? And I think the answer is a combination of insecurity, ego, greed, pride, and stupidity. Because there was a time you didn't need walls on your houses in Trinidad and Tobago. You didn't need walls because there really wasn't that much crime, and any of the crime that was committed was easily interdicted, and it was small and petty crime. So you didn't really need walls. But there was a time, and the crime, we got some money. So what comes with money, if you don't manage the country, is you're going to get crime. If you have an unequal distribution of the nation's wealth, and stick a pin on that point, because you see that unequal distribution of the nation's wealth, trust me when I tell you, that is one of we have multiples of reasons we have crime. And Daniel, I want to ask you tonight, let's have this conversation. I don't care for the shit talk on these issues. I want us to drill down and understand what exactly is going on in the country. There are multiples of reasons that we have crime. Ego, stupidity, insecurity, stunting, because we cross lines from securing ourselves to securing ourselves fashionably. But there's also a drug trade. There's also an illegal narcotics trade that Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, Keith Rowley, Patrick Manning, Bastio Pandey, Eric Williams, A.N.R. Robertson, all of them knew existed. They know it exists now. And we come to that, stick a pin there too. That's two important pins. The unequal distribution of national wealth and the drug trade. But there was a time they didn't need walls, and then we got some crime. So we built some walls. So the people climbed over the walls. So we put razor wire on top the walls, and they were getting past the razor wire on the tall walls. So we put wrought iron on the windows. So they was waiting outside to rob you by a gate when you stop to open your gate to drive in your yard. So we bought electric gates. So they were waiting for you to drive back out. So we got gated communities. And they were waiting till you come outside the gated communities. It keep escalating. So they wait on you till you come out of the gated community. And so we got security guards. And they waited away from the security guards. At some point, they're going to catch up with you. And so we got bodyguards. And I'm trying to think, in a nation that has 10,000 security guards estimate, making a minimum wage of about $3,000 a month, that's $30 million a month in security guard salaries. There's no way to estimate the value of the electronic gates. An electronic gate and motor and everything is about $10,000. So that's billions of dollars. Please, Daniel, I ask you, we don't distract nobody. Let's have a serious conversation, because I wanted to drill into people's minds, including yours. I want you to understand where we're coming from, because we need to have this conversation from a position of fact. You see, bullshit drunk in this country. We get bullshit jamming still, all the arseness, all the memes. Do that everywhere else but this wall or this trend, because I kind of fed up with it. That's make me want to turn off my Facebook. I am highly allergic to fuckery. Highly allergic. I can't stand stupid people. I can't stand replacing factual, critical thinking, logical deduction with bullshit. We can't understand it. Think it through. Let's not just bullshit it. Let's have a conversation that gets us to the point of understanding. That's the conversation I'm trying to have on the issue of security, securing our insecurity. So now we have walls, razor wire, wrought iron, electric gates, gated community, security guard, burglar alarm, bodyguards. That's still not helping. National security, $9 billion. $9 billion a year for the past 10 years. That is $90 billion that we've spent on national security. And that has nothing to do with the court system. That has nothing to do with the jail system. That has nothing to do with social development. I'm trying to understand, how could we be spending billions of dollars and not be safe? How could we be spending billions of dollars? Let's average that private sector, public sector, because in the construction industry, 25% of your costs to build a house now is security, wall, fence, electric cameras monitoring your salary, the amount of money you spend every month. So you're paying gated community fees because they tell you it's management. It's not management, it's security guard salary. Yeah, you're paying for the pool and the electric gate and all that. Throw aside the pool, everything else, electric gate, camera, security guards, you're paying $3,000 for that. You're paying $500 for your own monitoring inside, $3,500 because you're not buying Blink. Because Blink is bullshit. Blink is, we hear your alarm going off, okay. $3,500. Your wrought iron on your house, $50,000. I mean, amortize these things. Look at what we are spending every month just to hope to be safe. And we're still not safe. We're still not safe. So the nation is spending, on estimate, $20 billion a year on security. That's $20,000 million. Understand? That is almost, hear me, eh? That is almost, and this is not talking about the court system, the justice system, the jails, none of that. This is not social development, it's not food card and handout and URP and CPEP. This is none of that. This is just the nation, public and private sector, spending the equivalent of giving practically every citizen a minimum wage salary every month. And we're spending that on security, and people getting murdered. How is that working out for us? How is it working out? How is it that we are not seeing? How it is that Bayshore doesn't understand that those gates that they want to put up, if Parliament give Bayshore those gates, because an arms race doesn't say, all right, I see a gate, you win, we'll go elsewhere. And they have companies, I know. I train people in sales. They have companies that train their sales reps to tell you that forget about being totally safe. That the mission is to make your community safer than the next community, so that the bandits will go in the next community and leave your house alone. But that is bullshit. That is total and complete bullshit. And the facts don't add up to that. Because for you to get to the standard of living that makes you that secure, you are completely insecure now, because everything that you have to do and have is a tell that you are worth robbing, kidnapping, hijacking, carjacking, all of the above. Instead of us treating with the issue of crime from a social management point of view, we've escalated criminals in this country to the point where when you see videos of some of the things that take place as crime in this country, when you see what these fellas have, the kind of weaponry, you have to know that you're losing that arms race. If you're in a gated community and 2 B-13s with 5 fellas each reach outside and jump out, 10 men, AR-15s and AK-47s, like in the movies. Your 2 security guards in that boot, what do you think they're going to do? Open fire? If they are told to open the gate, come outside and leave, or die, what are they going to do? And your budget, when you were building it, and they told you the guard hut should have bulletproof walls and bulletproof glass and a separate ventilation system, and you said, nah, that's extra $250,000 that we could save. You see, we don't think that it escalates. We don't think that it becomes a problem every single time. You ever hear this saying, when you make ends meet, somebody's moved the ends? Every time that we've crossed the line, I remember when electric gates was the style. Everybody had to get an electric gate to show off that you have an electric gate. It was a bling. We crossed the line. I know there are people who their bodyguards are bling. If you could be driving and there have a car behind you with your bodyguards driving too, that's bling. And you could go residence. You could go Siam. And your bodyguard part in the crowd. God, you feel like Whitney Houston. You're feeling sexy. But to get to there, that bling makes you a target. And if you are a well-valued enough target, they have enough bodyguard in that car they put. And this is the point we have to have, this is the conversation we have to have. Today, CNC3 put out a news report that said that the police captured the people who we saw coming off that pirogue down in Losi Road, running into Trinidad. Bullshit. Bullshit. By the time that video went viral, 2 days had passed. Bullshit. Do not fool me. My biggest problem with CNC3 trying to tell the nation that bullshit is that if it were not for that video, where would those people be now? Reginald McLean, who monitors the waterways and keeps an account of where the Coast Guard vessels are so that we can ask, what are we spending money on the Coast Guard for? Tell me, 9 boats parked up in Chagaramas while refugee runners making mincemeat of the southern border, Cedros, Losi Road. The helicopters based in the north, they're grounded. We have no money to fix the helicopters, or so they say. Or so they say. The money that could service the helicopters being spent on Senadan's Kedona project. And I want to not get sidetracked by the nastiness of the politics of the country. But if we are not securing the borders and people could step off a boat, because CNC3 and the police service tell us that they catch them 11, even if I want to believe you, what happened after? What happened after? What happened before? I see 100,000 Venezuelans in this country. Everywhere you go, they have no part of Trinidad that they're not pervasive now. Who is asking? Show me you. Because it should be law. This is a country that when Gary Griffith was Minister of National Security, we estimated 110,000 illegal immigrants in the country. And that was not cross-border. That was true landing points that never returned. Now we have people swimming ashore. What happens when those people who make it and get into Trinidad and get a little job and get a belly full, get a message back to Venezuela and say, Trinidad borders open? What happens when that becomes, you all ever saw what happened outside Miami when Cuba started to go Miami? When 10 million people went straight across the water to Miami, Trinidad has 9 boats in the Coast Guard. What happens when 50 pirogues come in at this nation packed with refugees? What happens then? Do we open fire and cause an international incident? No, because CNN and BBC and everybody will come here to cover Trinidadians killing Venezuelan refugees in the ocean. We are not securing this nation's borders because there are people in this country who benefit from the drug trade. The drug trade through Trinidad and Tobago has been estimated in the hundreds of billions of dollars. The drug trade through Trinidad and Tobago. Now, if we had secured this nation's borders since the 80s, when we knew, when the Scott drug report gave us a peek into it just before it blew up, in the 1990s, Trinidad became Miami Vice. And we watched people who was hustling for decades. With their 1 store and their 2 store, they're doing well. We're doing well. We drive in 6323 Them driving 626 and 99, that's all right. That's okay. You're doing well, you're working hard. You're working hard. You open a little burger store, and in 2 years you open a branch. And 2 years after that you open my next branch, you're doing well. Took 40 years for KFC to move from 1 to 10, and then 5 years to move from 10 to 50. Subway, when David Coelho and a bunch of fellas had owned it, who were responsible for going and search for Henry Salvatore, who get lost in the Everglades, flying a plane, and apparently Claude Salvatore or Charles Salvatore, whichever one was his father, apparently bought them as Subways. This is what I was told, I don't know if it's true, bought David Coelho and some friends that Subway franchise that was in St. James. And Subway stayed with one store for about 10 years and catch his ass to the point where they had to create a trailer branch. They couldn't even afford the franchise fee to call it a Subway. They call it Yellow Submarine, and used to park up across from QRC around the savannah and sell imitation Subways to trade on the brand. And then all of a sudden, 30 Subways. All of a sudden, money in the system. And I don't understand how we went from this to that. And I would like to know. But there's nobody in this country that you could ask. There's no official of state. Come back to the borders. Come back to the borders. Secure the borders. End the drug trade. Secure the borders. Stop the flow of guns. Secure the borders. End the wave of illegal immigration that is going to swamp this country. To the jackasses wearing saddles and bridles who looking for something to ride, I'm not that. This nation cannot carry itself much longer. I see a picture of two jackasses, Colm Imbert and Faris Al-Rawi, looking stone-faced serious into the camera, saying that if we don't pass our tax amendment bill, the country economy will collapse. Every bill that this jackass Faris Al-Rawi wants to pass comes with a solemn warning of pending doom, like the anti-gang bill that is law 6 months now, and they can't deal with one gang yet. Faris alone to explain. But if you're watching the play and you realize crime is helping a narrative that wants to strip the nation of human rights, civil rights. Crime is a narrative that is helping them pass laws to restrict and further restrict natural freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of political expression. And this is where they play in, because Trinidad is lucrative insofar as all of the reasons Trinidad is has a good location in the world for shipping, for cruise ships, for marine, everything is also perfect reasons for the drug trade. And the drug trade needs empty borders. Keith Rowley, I am asking you, live on social media, are you aware of the drug trafficking that passes through this country? Keith Rowley, you're the Prime Minister. I don't talk to your stunting jackass of a National Security Minister, that placeholder. I'm talking to you, Chair of the National Security Council, Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Are you aware of the billions of dollars of drugs, illegal drugs that have made their way through this country? Yes or no? Keith Rowley, yes or no? Keith Rowley, have you heard that drugs go to Tobago because it's easier to offload drugs in Tobago and then comes to Trinidad on the Superfast Glacier, the Ocean Flower, the Cabo Star, the Galleon's Passage, or whatever is moving between Tobago and Trinidad, because nothing checks it? Keith Rowley, are you aware of these things? Because if you are not, you should fire yourself. Because this is information that is available in the public space. To the point that when Sheldon Mendoza made a joke about some shipping containers and the police and the authorities, and he made a joke, he made a satire, but the nation bought it as fact. Because the nation readily believes that the entire upper class of Trinidad and Tobago has made its money in some way connected to the illegal narcotic trade that passes through this country in the hundreds of billions of dollars. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, I am asking you live here, live on social media, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, I am asking you, why did you not secure the nation's borders when you were very much aware? Because I know I was a communications advisor to the Ministry of National Security and to the National Operations Center. And I know that you and the National Security Council were aware of the drug trade in Trinidad and Tobago. Hundreds of billions of dollars. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, why did you not secure the nation's borders? Keith Rowley, why are you not securing the nation's borders? No, we are watching donkeys and cattle being brought ashore from mainland Venezuela. We are watching people offload from pirogues and walking into the country. Keith Rowley, why are we not securing the nation's borders? Keith Rowley and Kamla Prasad Bisesa, Faris Al-Rawi and Rudal Modilal, why aren't we, as matter of urgent national importance, debating in the parliament securing the nation's borders? Why aren't we, as a matter of urgent national importance, having a conversation about securing the nation's borders to end the drug trade, stop the gun trade? Why aren't we putting facilities in place to unstuff all containers on the port? Yes, it will slow it down, but it will stop the drug trade. Why aren't we unstuffing the containers on the port? If you import something, bring your truck, we will open the container and load the shit from the container to your truck so you could go. But we could see if what's on the manifest is what came. Keith Rowley, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, why aren't we having as a debate in the parliament, as a matter of urgent national importance, securing the nation's borders and unstuffing all containers on the port? We've learned that 40% of all container traffic through this country go from ship to truck and leave without being checked. In a nation this notorious as a drug trafficking hub. Keith Rowley, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, explain that. Because we can have another conversation. The 11 murders this week sends a message to Gary Griffith that they don't afraid God and they don't afraid him. Now they have one play, which is a state of emergency, which they are loath to play because the commercial interests lose money. And even if you play the national state of emergency, they'll wait you out. If you do not have a plan to stop the drug trade, to stop the gun trade, so we could take the guns that are on the streets off the streets and begin investigations, factual financial investigations into every business that cannot explain its wealth, we're not going anywhere. And all that gun talk, helping nobody. Listening to Gary fight and argue with God Christopher and Wayne Sturge, helping nobody. We need to face the reality of what this country is. A criminal enterprise, a narco state. We are an illegal drug pipeline. And the Prime Minister and the opposition leader, for all the bullshit talk they talk, They're not addressing the issue of the drug trade in Trinidad and Tobago and the impact it has had on the economy, on the society, and on all offices of state. They've been corrupted. Politics has been corrupted with drug money, easy money. Drown the media at election time. Raise all your prices 500%. Don't worry, we'll get 500 million because they'll get back $1 billion. So I'm saying tonight to Trinidad and Tobago, you can't build a wall high enough. You can't put spike and razor wire and electric fence. I know, I deal with these people. I'm talking to fellas who I know in at-risk communities. And they're working and they're doing hustling work on our job sites. And they're saying, what is the best thing to put on top of a wall? They have nothing you could put on top of a wall that will stop people coming over the wall. They want to come over the wall. Nothing. Our electric fences hold up a wooden ladder. Them spikes you want to put, we will walk with a piece of foam. They will put a mattress over your wall, on top of your spikes, and climb over comfortably. They will cut through your razor wire. This is real talk, eh? There's no wall high enough that you could build that they're not going to come over. I remember when I was a little boy, I went to the Oval, Carnival time. And a fella named Listy Hospitalis tell me where there's a wall, there's a way, and run up and jump over the Oval wall. I couldn't believe it. There's no wall high enough. There's no spikes tall enough. There's no razor wire and electric fence that you could put on that will keep those motivated who want to come in out. They'll come through your wall. I've seen it. They'll come through your wall. If they can't come over, they'll come under. We cannot continue to build our homes like if we are imprisoning ourselves. That in your yard, you have dogs that you afraid to feed. First, they bad. So you coming home, at the end of the day, the first person you're passing is the security guard in your gated community. Then you reach your driveway and you have to open your electric gate and go inside and park and come out and hope your two dogs ain't bite you and greet your bodyguard and turn off your alarm, get the call and say, yes, that was me, I turned it off. Open your wrought iron gate, close your wrought iron gate, open your heavy secure door and go inside and put your licensed firearm inside the safe and lock the door before you could piss. How is that working? How is that working? Where's the carefree life that we're in the tropics? Where's that? Where is that? $20 billion a year on security services, alarm monitoring, national security, Coast Guard, soldiers, police. $20 billion a year. None of it working. $20 billion a year. And you could be driving down the road and a man could run you off the road and come to rob you. And you have to hand him your shit and apologize for your car being in his way. We are not working as a nation. It is not working. And the government understands fully well why it's not working. The opposition understands fully well why it is not working. But a progressive empowerment party government will secure this nation's borders as an act of national urgency. A progressive empowerment party government will set up an internal affairs unit within the police service. A progressive empowerment party government will make the Army, Homeland Security, augment them to border patrols and police service support. A progressive empowerment party government will give law enforcement officers $2,000, $3,000, and $4,000 for the value of the guns that they bring in to be melted. A progressive empowerment party government, 1 month after giving police officers the opportunity to bring all the guns off the street, will launch zero tolerance on illegal firearms. That if you are caught with a gun, you will go to jail, directly to jail for 2 years. The gun will be destroyed. Police officers caught in criminal activity will face the full brunt of the law. A progressive empowerment party government will be very serious about zero tolerance. That police officers will be put to patrol 24/7 on the ground, rain or shine. That's the work. But we will make sure that you're paid well. Police officers, teachers, and farmers will be getting a bonus just for surviving, just for helping steer the ship of state back healthily and safely to port. Because those three professions we need more than lawyers, accountants, and even doctors right now. We need teachers, farmers, and police to step up, help take this country back from the narco dons that have it in its grip. We need to work with our international partners, and a Progressive Empowerment Party government will, because our internal affairs division in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service will be manned by foreign operatives. Because we can't trust any of our systems till we remove the last vestiges of the corruption, of the drug, narcotic, and illegal corruption trades in this country. And we have to find them and uproot them, take them out of the system, and we have to make examples from the top down. I am fed up of seeing picky-haired little white vest drawers showing bandits. I want to see the real thing. Show me the shirt and tie and the jacket. Show me that. There was an episode of The Wizard of Oz where the king said to this guy, "Your crimes are so atrocious. 4,000 years in jail." His lawyer stood up and said, "Sire, you jest with my client's life." The king said, "Right. 2,000 years apiece." And the point was not lost. That there are professionals in this country, accountants, lawyers, and more, that their whole function is to be paid well to assist in the criminality that is destroying this country. You cannot have a conversation about going forward as a nation without facing these facts. And all of that said, if you do not mount massive social redevelopment programs into the hotspot and at-risk PNM communities, because it is the PNM that did these people this. It is the PNM that abandoned them. Morgan Job went to his grave ringing that alarm bell that the voters of the PNM were being dumbed down and reduced to drones, who did not understand that there is no amount of handout you could get that could justify your support for something working against you. Reading somebody say that there's a demand and a supply and all kind of bullshit. Listen, I am not going to argue with chronic stupidity anymore. I am going to put information in the public space, and I am going to weigh and hope that there are more intelligent people than people who just want to parrot foolishness that they've heard. We know, all of science knows, all human beings have the same needs. In countries where illegal drug use, not recreational drug use, where illegal drug use is high, the stress level in the society is also high. Issues like traffic, like crime, like the cost of living push people into escapism. Treat with that. Solve the problem. Address it at the root. Social development. We need massive redevelopment. Mova, Beetham, Lavatel, and Silots to start. Bagatelle, River Estate, Covey, Mason, Factory Road, Saganga, La Puerta, Abipujad, Big Yard, Scorpion, Carnage, Cocorit, Hardin Place, Belmont, Gonzales, La Hoqueta, Talparo, going down the line, Enterprise, Embacade. There are communities throughout this country broken. The people have little or no choice, and given an opportunity to improve their condition by taking a chance, they're taking a chance. And we've allowed that. We've allowed that to happen. Judges, magistrates will tell you, 90% of the people before them carried. cannot read. Something as simple as literacy, as a national literacy target. The Progressive Empowerment Party would make law. Every time you apply to the state for anything, a handout, a housing grant, anything, do a literacy test. If you get charged by the police for anything, the first thing the magistrate has to apply is a literacy test. And in cases of arrest, where you are found to be illiterate, they could give you leniency if you take a 6-week course and come back to the court and prove that you can read and understand. Because the moment you give people the ability to read for themselves, you open the whole world to them. Literacy, jobs, jobs. This country needs jobs, real career building, mind training, excitement building jobs. We need jobs that people wake up in a morning happy to go to work, a real job. Kiss my kids, kiss my wife, pat the dog, I'm going to work. What exciting thing is about no? Where you want on your Subway? You want fries with that? Those are not jobs. We have too many people in this country twirling batter and spraying ketchup on shit food. We need to give people hope and opportunity and get out their way. Get out of their way. The function, the reason, the purpose for having a government is the well-being of all of the people of the country. There is a survey done by the United Nations that tells you how low on the development scale a country is by the amount of Nestle condensed milk they buy. Believe it or not. That the more condensed milk you consume, the lower on the development scale, third world, fourth world, the lower on the scale you go, more condensed milk selling. We need to undo and redo this nation to personal, individual functionality. It's not going to happen by treating our people as drones and slave labor. It's not going to happen. Government's job is to create a happiness index, a quality of life measure that is applied to everybody. And the mission of government is to raise the circumstances of every single citizen for all the while they are in office. And that means if a party comes into government and there are 5,000 homeless people, when it comes out of government, it should have less. If a political party comes into government and it comes into office and there's 50% of the education system, by the time they reach CXC, 50% fail, don't show up, abandon school, that needs to fix. A government that comes into power and realizes that 75% of the population does not engage public health because public health does not work. That is an issue that needs fixing. We need to vote into office governments who not look like you or they popular. This bullshit about I like you so I will vote for you. That's for dating. That's for dancing. That's for liming. I am yet to hire somebody based on if I like them or not. I love the story about the carpenter who was trying to, this contractor who was trying to hire a carpenter. And he had a pile of nails and a hammer in front of the chair. And he was interviewing all of them. And during the interview, he would let them wait for a bit. He'd go and do his stuff and come back. And the first guy that put the nails in a row, he hired him. He said, you're a real carpenter. You're getting ready to work. They have little seed knowledge that people have that if you put it to work, will rescue this nation. Simple, simple facts. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Jobs, home, education, healthcare, food. You take care of those things, national security will take care of itself. Crime, violent crime in Trinidad and Tobago is as a direct result of unchecked, deliberate poverty, mismanaged social development and management, and the drug trade. And all of those things could be addressed. All of those things could be dealt with. Social development and management is supposed to be your biggest ministry. Education and national security comes under social development and management, because those are the two pillars. People either get educated or get incarcerated. We have a situation where from classroom to jail pipeline. Look at it. Look at what is going on in this country. Check where we are. On all of the indices, on every index that you could match and track where we are succeeding at the worst and failing at the best. And we are not having these conversations. We have bullshit conversations. We measure foolishness. We are supposed to see, this is a country that is so hypocritical. We have a nation of people who engage in a smorgasbord of sex for 2 weeks as carnival, and then go for ashes on Ash Wednesday, and all is forgiven. With that wild in our mind and our thinking, we have no real vision for this country. We don't. So we live a life of consumption, conspicuous consumption. I want them to like me. I want them to envy me. I want them to fear me. Nobody talking respect yet. Nobody talking respect. And that is the only thing I ever want from anybody. Respect. Respect me. I will respect you. I start everybody off at 100% respect. You could lose those points. The only thing I care for is respect. And there are plenty people who are around me all the time. And they can tell you, I can be a son of a bitch. I am very difficult. I don't truck foolish talk. Don't blow smoke up my ass. I have no time for that shit. Let us use the time that we have together correctly, to the best advantage of what we have to accomplish. Imagine this country 5 years from now with a proper food production ministry capable of reducing the cost of import by 50% in the first 5 years and getting us to food net exporter by the end of the second 5. Just imagine that. Imagine farmers being able to do their job again. This is a country that the second largest armed force is the Ministry of Agriculture's Pradia Larceny Squad. And we can't secure the food. You're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. You're allowing them. It is Philip Edward Alexander who came and told the nation they are bullshitting you when they tell you that we're too small to feed ourselves. That was ass talk. And when we proved it, they shut up. When we told you that you could build a house, a starter home for $100,000, and they challenged us, and we proved it, they shut up. You could import houses that are hurricane rated. Hear me? Hurricane rated, pre-packaged, $10,000 US. We could secure this nation's borders in 6 months. We could have internal affairs up and running in 3. We could start dealing with the issue of home ownership for all in the first week. Just start pre-screening everybody who would like to buy a house, pre-qualify them based on their income. Jobs for all must be government's first priority. Literacy for all must be government's first priority. Jobs, home ownership, the ability to raise your family in peace and harmony. Crime, all that money that we spend on national security and personal protection every year is wasted money. $20 billion that, if properly used, could raise this nation back to being the paradise on earth it was meant to be. This country is a first world developed nation, but for the PNM and the UNC. It is already assembled. It's like a kit. Pull this tab and Trinidad and Tobago will be first world and developed. Why aren't we? Because we've saddled ourselves with the PNM and the UNC and the drug traffickers and the corrupt sons of bitches that are financiers and friends of those political parties. And if they aren't, secure the borders. Keith Rowley, secure the borders. Keith Rowley, unstuff the containers on the port. Stop the bullshit. Stop the stunting. Stop pretending. We don't believe you anymore. There is not a single word that you or any of your ministers could say. The country is waiting for an election just to get rid of you. And the Progressive Empowerment Party have a serious mission to be ready for government so we don't end up saddled with that next jackass band, the UNC. And that's the work. That's why Diwali night, I here with you, 11:15, to keep this conversation. We can't get distracted. We cannot get distracted while we're talking flood and police killing, Petrotrain and Sandals and the Sea Bridge and QREP interchange and the rape of the forests in Toko. I mean, oh God, what is, if we don't stay focused on, building back this nation quickly, that's the trouble we will be in. The Progressive Empowerment Party exists for one purpose only: to win an election convincingly, to govern this country properly for the first time in its history. For the first time. Secured borders, internal affairs in the police department, a tax on plastic bottles at the manufacturing stage that cleans up the environment, retention ponds, lakes and dams that collects the rainwater so that we could hold, treat, distribute to the 41 constituencies where they have their own water makers to process and send to your home, purer than bottled water. Imagine this country, only better. Imagine this country, #1 in the world for cruise ship tourism. You know how easy that is? Trinidad and Tobago has more things that people need to see than any other tropical destination on the planet. The largest brain coral in the world, the oldest old world growth forest, the only nylon pool, the only pitch lake. Trinidad and Tobago has more things that people need to see than any other tourist destination in the world. Do you know that? Are you aware of that? This country, Trinidad and Tobago, outside of the hurricane belt, Lloyd's of London would give us the money to build the largest pleasure boat marina facility in the world, because it will save them hundreds of millions of dollars a year after the hurricanes pass through the countries and decimate their yachts and their motorboats and their pleasure craft. Bring them to Trinidad and Tobago. Just those two things. Agriculture. Imagine moving the Labas. Imagine creating, where the Labas is, the largest commercial free trade zone in the Caribbean, starting from South Port of Spain and reaching as far east as you could go. Imagine that. And inviting the big companies in the world who are trading and selling and wholesaling and distributing to the South Americas, the Central Americas, and the North Americas. Imagine if you told them, set up your assembly in Trinidad and Tobago. Imagine this country. While I'm talking to you, again, messages on a million fronts. calls, WhatsApps, messages are still trying to focus. The country that we want is as simple as voting an effective government into office that will take the deliberately illiterate and set them right. The people who are functionally illiterate, who don't understand that they don't understand, even them, we have to treat with care and respect. Because we have to know that they don't know. And you can't fight with somebody over what they don't know. That don't make sense. Our job is to educate, inform, and empower. The Progressive Empowerment Party would like, more than anything else, to change the national conversation to one where every creed and race does in fact find an equal place, where we can become one people under one flag in every situation and circumstance of state, where every business owner has access to the same finance that all have, the same credit, where our financial sector is regulated, where fees are determined by central bank and the Ministry of Finance, where banks are mandated to pay interest on depositors' funds so that they will be forced to put credit back into the system. All of these things, counterintuitive, common sense, simple. It is literally looking around at all the successful places in the world and copying what they do. Success leaves clues. Trinidad is deliberately broken by deliberate design, by some heinous and obscene business, lawyers, accountants, a contractocracy, a parasitic oligarchy, a 1% that doesn't give a shit about you and your children, as long as you working for them and eating what they're selling. It is time to undo and redo Trinidad and Tobago. And I want to say this again, and I want to say it clear. I'm not in the like Philip Alexander business. That is not what I'm here for. So when you see other political wannabes want to be using my name to get talk, tell them, listen, Philip don't care that you don't like him. What Philip asks is that you say what your policies are, what your plans are, what you would do if you were given the opportunity to fix this country, because it's not an easy work at all. But imagine this Trinidad and Tobago, 5 years into a Progressive Empowerment Party government, where the biggest problem people have is what to do with all this freaking wrought iron and razor wire and electric gate shit we spend this money on. What to do with it? I tell people, when I was a teenager, my country went through a horrible recession, and I watched people line up on South Key in the rain, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, outside the Canadian embassy, begging for a visa to run away from Trinidad and Tobago. And I said, if you make me Prime Minister, I will make this country so successful, such a paradise on earth, such a beautiful place to live, that Canadians will line up in the snow to get a visa to come here. That is the vision for Trinidad and Tobago. A country that works to the benefit of all the people. We could have that. We could be that. We just have to want that. We are up, we are running, we are ready. If you would like to be a part of this movement, this Saturday at noon, 19 Stanmore Avenue, join us. Come and make yourself available to serve. Forget the small talk and the old talk. Those are the last adopters. When the tipping point happens and the critical mass arrives, all those people that didn't believe now, they'll believe then. Don't worry about them. Your job is to use your critical thinking to get to the point where you understand what is wrong and why, and how it can be fixed. We could have a better Trinidad and Tobago. All we have to do is stand together, one people under one flag, and make it so. Progressive Empowerment Party is committed to this course of action. If you would like a better Trinidad and Tobago, join us this Saturday at noon, 19 Stanmore Avenue. Stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.